AskRedd by Carnivorous. What is the vegetarian or vegan equivalent of eating a rotisserie chicken with your bare hands in your car in the parking lot? An entire brown, foldable to-go box of hot bar mashed potatoes with mushroom gravy using a small to-go sauce container as a spoon. Whole Foods hot bar mac and amp, cheese with a heap of balsamic Brussels sprouts on top. No utensils needed. Eating an entire whole watermelon and then wearing the empty carcass as a hat. I once saw someone do this, minus the hat part, after eating an entire rotisserie chicken, 5/8 of a pizza, 3 large size Snickers bars, and a gallon of iced tea. Edit. Please note that he cut the watermelon with a plastic knife. I worked at a Sam's Club and it was the weird regular old man who would always eat a weird amount of food and also eat relish out of the packets. He rode around in the little cart and wore a little captain's hat. We named him the SS Creepy. My sister and I crushed a Korean jalapeno pancake with our bare hands in the car the other day. We got a bunch of other takeout to enjoy at home too, but couldn't wait to go in on that pancake. It was screamin' hot right off the griddle and perfectly crispy. Jalapenos was spicy and sauce was saucy. Pretty similar experience to rotisserie in terms of both level of ecstasy and level of grease. Honestly, I think this is the right answer. Deleted. This one. We've tanked a tub of hummus with pitta on the way home from the store more than once. My dumbest teenager eating an entire head of lettuce one leaf at a time while sitting in front of a video game. That sounds healthy at least. Getting a $5 hot and ready cheese pizza and immediately eating that in your car in the parking lot with your bare hands, but it's so hot you burn your mouth yet you keep going until your cousin's boyfriend knocks on your window and tells you he and his mom have been watching you and laughing for several minutes. Not that I know from experience or anything. So many people here just sharing recipes without understanding the assignment, but you get it. I guess if people have been veg for a while, they might not know a rotisserie chicken like instantly slimes your hands. You'd have to be in a reasonably feral mood to eat one in a car. Eating a family-sized pasta meal by yourself. Yes. I don't make pasta very often because I'm a bottomless pit for it. I don't know what it is, but I can just eat and eat and eat noodles without getting full. Everybody says rice doesn't fill them up. I'm good with rice. Pasta though? Nope. On the off chance I do get full, I am hungry again within the hour. My brother and I went to a weekly class. It was pretty informal and a guy would come every week with just stalks of celery and eat them during class. It was so barbaric for some reason. He became celery guy and we both feared and revered him. Celery guy did not care who he disturbed how the liquid pulled in the corners of his mouth and fingers. He ate several stalks and did not care. I still think about him all the time. Those crunches still sound in my mind. There was a girl in my college who would eat plain uncooked top ramen noodles right out of the package in class. The sounds were probably the same, though she left crumbs and not liquid debris. Giant pile of fresh French fries. Tear open bag, drizzle ketchup, devour while silently weeping. My doctor told me it's generally healthier to eat 2 burgers than have a burger and fries. 2 fingers in the humus tub in your car in the parking lot. Sometimes you gotta get something in your belly now. Bonus points if you don't wash your hands before doing that but spit on them and clean them off on your shirt. Shoveling a bag of pre-grated cheese into your mouth on the kitchen floor at 3 AM. You're not my wife. Ripping the skin off and devouring the sweet flesh of a perfectly ripe mango. I'm not vegan vegetarian, but something about peeling and eating mangoes makes me feel feral. Juicing running down your chin, draining it like a vampire. Many years ago, there was a call-in show on NPR where they were interviewing an author and baker who'd written a book about bread. It was surprisingly interesting. On my way home from work that evening, I stopped at the grocery store and got a massive fresh baguette. It was still warm, what luck, and tore off a huge piece in the car to eat on the way home. It was so good, even for a grocery store bakery baguette, because I'd been thinking about bread all day. I love the mental image of watching someone eat an entire baguette while stuck in traffic. For me, eating multiple tubs of hummus with just my fingers. I love that stuff. Seeing a few comments about hummus, I feel less weird and guilty for having it by the bucket. Hummus plus pita chips equals chef's kiss. Eating an entire pack of Oreos while watching Adventure Time. Well, you called my 30-year-old self out. For my vegetarian ex, I think it was devouring the cauliflower tacos in the car on the way home. She always left one so I didn't eat alone. I thought it was hilarious. Eating a multi-pack of its seaweed thins whilst simultaneously fisting a tray of vegetable sushi into your gob. Wondered where you were going for a second with the fisting. As a child on an organic gardener mum in the 60s, picking veggies for dinner. Possible 1/3 of the stuff we picked ended up inside us before we took it inside. Carrying a bucket of water helped with washing the root veggies. And it was important to say what's up, Doc, when eating a carrot. As a vegan that spent a summer in his car, emptying Taco Bell sauce packets into your top ramen, and cooking that ramen by setting it in the dash of your car for 30 minutes on a sunny day as you go shopping for a cheap bag of raw broccoli and some hummus at grocery outlet. Gotta respect your ingenuity, but I also hope you're in a more financially stable place now. My vegetarian, but not vegan, food-related vice I had to ban myself from was eating a wheel of camembert, usually while watching TV. But in the oven with rosemary and olive oil first. Then dip bread in the glorious melty miasma that results. Deleted. A big vegetarian burrito. Buying a pomegranate and going in on that bee. I mean, that's the vegetarian equivalent of eating a raw animal heart. Eating a Costco-sized flat of raspberries with your bare hands in the car right after buying them. A few years ago there was a huge sale on raspberries for $1 at the local Publix, and God help me, I bought like 10 containers of them and only like half made it to my fridge. Eating a bunch of steamed corn on the cob in the car. It's just as messy, eaten with hands, and the biting motions of chomping and tearing off are similar. Ooh, this is a good one. Good sweet corn can be so messy too. Sometimes you get it and the kernels are almost stale. But other times, so juicy they explode and can drip everywhere. I'm from the Midwest and live on the West Coast now. The corn out here sucks most of the time. Whenever I go home during corn season, I have to eat it because I miss it so much. While shopping at Costco with my mom, she bought one of the extended sized containers of raspberries. We weren't even out of the parking lot before she grabbed it from the back and started scarfing them down. Even funnier was when we were stopped at the light to leave the shopping center, the driver of the minivan next to us was also eating raspberries from Costco, straight out of the container. They saw each other and laughed, doing a little toast with their containers before the light changed. So, raspberries. Eating a brick of tempeh with your bare hands like a granola bar. Regretfully, I must admit that sometimes after the gym I will tear open a pack of flavored tofu with my pocket knife and eat it directly from the packet whilst walking down the street. Gotta get that protein. Eating a jar of tiny pickles by fishing them out of said jar with your bare hands. Extra fancy points if you use some green leaf to wrap them before putting them in your mouth. Jedi Master level if you then dip the pickle-filled wrapped leaf into a tub of hummus, salsa or baba ganache. Then take a few swigs of the pickle juice left in the jar for palate cleansing. Hummus, bare hands with cashew cheese bites. Eating warm and washed tomatoes right after picking them in the garden. Cherry tomatoes one after the other while standing in front of the plant. When I go to the Indian buffet and leave there barely able to walk under my own power. Munching on a head of lettuce like an absolute savage while parked in a Prius, achieving the ultimate level of plant-powered primal instincts. Whole head of romaine. Squeezy container of Duke's mayonnaise. Squeeze mayo onto romaine, bite off the end like a savage. Squeeze more mayo and keep eating until the whole head of romaine and at least half your container of mayo is gone. Yeet the stem out the window at the staring onlookers and yell freedom, then burn rubber out of the parking lot. A tub of hummus and a 6-pack of pita bread. Black bean tacos. I always keep black beans on hand, canned and damp, dried, and just season them with cumin, chili powder, garlic and some dashes of amino acids to help everything stick. Top it with a cilantro lime dressed slaw and it's done. Takes me less than 5 minutes in total to make and it's delicious. I am very curious, what do you mean by dashes of amino acids? This sounds yum to overall. I wanna try. I often get Lux biting into a tomato or bell pepper as if it were an apple. As a former vegan who prior to that was someone who ate rotisserie chicken in my car with my bare hands, sometimes with the help of a pocket knife if I felt fancy, I think that I'm qualified to answer this question. In my case it came down to 2 options. The first was buying the crispiest, whitest, devoidest of whole grain store-baked baguette and a tub of hummus. A surprisingly protein-dense combo on account of such bread being packed with gluten, and as long as you don't agree with the science of amino acids you can pretend it's a sensible choice. The other option was 2 bags of lentil crisps. 1 bag of lentil chips and a bag of regular potato chips was more of a real dinner thing. Can you elaborate on what you mean about the amino acids? I never heard of such a thing. Eating a tofurkey roast. Cold block of tofu out the pack. Large bag of potato chips. Eating a whole raw cauliflower. Though there have been at least 6 answers with hummus, I feel like this is the most accurate answer. Every time I go to Trader Joe's I wolf down a can of hearts of palm in the parking lot. Eating a sun-warmed beefsteak tomato straight from vine, while standing in the garden, juice running down your chin and arms. Eating a whole unseasoned tofu block. I'm a long-time vegan and for me it is a loaf of crusty bread and a tub of hummus. I've eaten this in the car so many times. I saw a lady on a train once pull out of a whole head of cabbage and just start going to town on it. Snorting chickpeas. A giant bag of fries with seasoning of some kind. A big ol' burrito. Eating an entire bag of Co-op custard donuts in the parking lot. They are accidentally vegan. Getting $10 worth of cheesy bean and rice burritos from Taco Bell and goblin mode it. Sauce. Was vegetarian for most of my youth. I've done this. Crushing a box of Oreos.